A warm welcome back to the Championship for Ipswich Town, and after 4 years in League One, Kieran McKenna's finally found the key to unlock the door back to the Championship. Now, there is definite optimism within the fan base that they can have a good season and maybe even push on for another playoff push and do a Sunderland from last season. Can they, though, make it double promotion in 2 seasons? Here, let's see. Ipswich under Marcus Evans during the latter years were an absolute mess in 18-19 in their final year of the Championship. They finished bottom with 31 points and were miserably relegated to League One. In 1920, Ipswich finished the season early due to COVID and eventually finished 11th based on points per game, missing out on the playoffs. And Paul Lambert was rightly criticised for an abject failure, really, with the squad he had inherited and with top calibre League One and League Two players across the EFL. It would have been considered a massive failure. And eventually, into the next season, game changer took over from Marcus Evans. The new ownership immediately installed Paul Cook as the new manager, and from there on, things were a bit different at Ipswich. Paul Cook took over during the middle of the 2020-2021 season and led Ipswich to a 9th place finish, again missing out on the playoffs, which would have been considered a failure with the squad they had. But during this first summer, Paul Cook brought in 19 new players into Ipswich Town, and also a lot of the first team squad that were there previously under Paul Lambert had also left. Sam Morsey, Lee Evans, Wes Burns, just a few of the names that came into Ipswich in what is sure to be a massive rebuild under Paul Cook, and also new CEO who was appointed from Bristol City Football Club, Mr. Mark Ashton himself. A lot of optimism was installed into Ipswich fans, and rightly so. Some of the calibre of players that came in were coming from the Championship and had just had very good seasons in the Championship, like Sam Morsey, Connor Chaplin, who just finished in the playoffs with Barnsley. Some really, really good quality players in there. But eventually, Ipswich fell short of expectations. Paul Cook was sacked with Ipswich 11th in the table and 9 points off Plymouth in 6th. So Mark Ashton had to make a major decision as Ipswich Town CEO. Who was he going to hire? He hired Kieran McKenna from the Manchester United Academy, and he was an absolute masterstroke of an appointment. Ipswich, in their next 23 games under Kieran McKenna, were 6th in the form table and were absolutely outstanding towards the end of it. Some very impressive performances in his time there as well, with not a lot of time, with not his players either. So there were signs going into the 2022-2023 season that Ipswich were definitely going to make a far more suitable and far more concrete push for promotion. In Kieran McKenna's first summer as Ipswich Town boss, the transfer strategy was far less scattergun and far more tailor-made to what Kieran McKenna wanted in his style of play and in his squad. The likes of Freddie Ladapo, Leif Davis and Don Bull were 3 crucial additions to the squad, which eventually helped them get promotion. Eventually turned out to be absolutely crucial that Ipswich stayed in the conversation for automatic promotion up until the January transfer window, because it was then when they started to recruit absolutely aggressively and really power their way through to the Championship. 4 key additions were made into the starting 11 and hit the ground running straight away. George Hurst came in as the new number 9 on loan from Leicester. Massimo Luongo was picked up on a free transfer after his contract was terminated at Middlesbrough. Nathan Broadhead was brought in on a permanent deal from Everton after his loan deal at Wigan was cut short. And Harry Clark came in on a permanent deal from Arsenal. The boyhood Ipswich Town fan and Ipswich Town boy was on loan at Stoke in the Championship for the first half of that season. Those 4 players at right back, in midfield, on the wing and up top were absolutely crucial to add to that already incredibly good League One spine with a great manager to help Ipswich eventually get promotion and really power themselves through in that second half of the season. Because what they did in that second half of the season cannot be underestimated whatsoever. You can't ignore the fact that Ipswich did go on a bit of a poor run in the middle of all this. 4 wins in 15 meant that frustrations grew within the fan base. Frustrations were aimed at Kieran McKenna, the players, but eventually tempers kind of boiled over in a 0-0 draw away at Bristol Rovers on Valentine's Day. And after that, Ipswich were absolutely magnificent. 15 games, 13 wins, 2 draws, and just an absolutely unbelievable run. And this time, their good run were correlated with a kind of Sheffield Wednesday almighty collapse when we thought they were basically promoted. Plymouth went on an absolutely brilliant streak towards the end of the season as well, finishing on 101 points. Ipswich confirmed promotion on game number 45 with a 4-0 win at home to Exeter at Portman Road, which confirmed promotion for them. But to be honest, in that 15-game run, some performances were just absolutely brilliant. Peterborough away, a 3-0 win, again at a playoff-chasing team that eventually finished 6th. Absolutely brilliant performance. But Barnsley away is probably the pick of the lot. 3-0 win away at Barnsley, and packed our way and just kind of personifying and kind of virtue signalling that Ipswich were basically there. Sheffield Wednesday's poor collapse certainly helped them, but you can't take away anything from the fact that Ipswich were absolutely brilliant and nothing short of absolutely magnificent for those last 15 games. Kieran McKenna, settled team, settled bunch of players, playing a set way, just passing teams to death, scoring goals for fun. Just an absolutely pleasure to watch for many League One fans. And towards the end of it, they were just taking the piss. It was brilliant to watch, and it was signifying the fact that Ipswich were back in the Championship, eventually finishing second with 98 points. A last day draw to Fleetwood didn't mean they got 100, but I'm sure they don't really care about that. It was just a perfect storm for Ipswich in League One. Their unbelievable run of 13 wins in 15 games, correlating with the Sheffield Wednesday collapse. It was just brilliant, and it was just a perfect storm for them. They finished 98 points and they got promotion back to the Championship. But what have they done so far to make sure they maintain their status in the Championship and then build on that and kick on? Well, they've signed Peterborough star Jack Taylor on a permanent deal, and he comes in on a pretty decent fee as well, about around £2 million. And I think this is a very sensible piece of business. He looks like a proper player, and when he came back into that Peterborough side, they helped and kicked on. He was kind of their catalyst to help kicking on and overtaking Derby on the final day for a place in the playoffs. So that's a very, very sensible piece of business. But that also means they probably won't sign too many other players for massive fees. However, they're also being heavily linked with George Hurst back on a permanent deal from Leicester. £4 million apparently, which seems like a lot of money for someone who's not scored a goal in this division before. So that seems, again, pretty sensible because he fitted in very well within this Kieran McKenna side. But question marks over the fee is very valid. I think Ipswich should be absolutely fine in the Championship next season. They've already got a squad who have played in the Championship before, like Connor Chaplin, like Sam Morsey, who've all, been here, done it, and been successful in this division as well. They've got a young, progressive manager who's been subjected to interest by clubs higher in the food chain, but have also, plays a wonderful, very attractive brand of football that will just overcome a very large amount of teams in the Championship just based on what they play. And I think they should absolutely fit in well in this division, and I think they'll be absolutely fine. Will they push for promotion? I'm not too sure. I think if they recruit well for the rest of this window, I think they can certainly plug some holes, and with the right money, with the right transfer fees paid and the right additions, and if they fit in well and hit the ground running, I think Ipswich can certainly push for top 10. Will they get into the playoffs? I'm not too convinced myself. I think they'll have an absolutely brilliant season for a newly promoted side, and if they establish themselves in, mid-table Championship, which would be a very good achievement, and I think they can push from there. I think they can really, really help themselves by laying the foundations this season and then pushing on in the next. So, do you see Ipswich Town pushing for promotion in the Championship next season? Let me know down in the comment section below your opinions and thoughts. I reckon Kieran McKenna will get a good tune out of this Ipswich Town side yet again and push for probably the top half in the Championship next season. They'll probably end up finishing around 14th, 15th, maybe even 12th. Let's see. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hit like if you haven't already. Subscribe to the A Drum and Stalk YouTube channel for more Championship content, more specific Championship content. If you do like these kind of videos where I take a kind of deep dive into the clubs, please, again, let me know in the comment section below. But I am a predominantly Bristol City fan channel as well. Thank you guys very much for watching. Keep safe, and I'll catch you all later. Cheers.